everyone! I am so ready for today's video because one of my favorite brands came out with a new palette and that just makes for a good day. So today we're going to be using the Violet Ink palette by Menagerie Cosmetics. I'm going to take this out of the packaging, pretending like I haven't already looked at this like 40 times already because it's beautiful. This is basically a purple palette, but then look at this artwork. This is just gorgeous. I can't get enough of this. I mean, it's just everything. So if you haven't already seen this palette, this is what the palette itself look like. So it's basically a purple palette and I just think this is so cute and I can't wait to play with this, and I just hope that this is good because purples are just so hard to make, but if anyone can make a good purple, I feel like it's going to be Menagerie. I also did get this sent in PR, which made me so happy. So thank you so much. I cannot wait to dig into this. If you want to know more information about this palette, I will leave a link to her website down below, of course, so you can go check that out if you want to. But let's go ahead and swatch this palette real quick. Okay, so as for the swatches, I thought that they swatched okay. I'm not like blown away by the swatches, but then again, most purples just don't swatch the best, so I am more curious to see how these are going to perform on the eyes, if I'm being honest. So that's definitely what we are going to be doing. So I'm going to prime. I'm going to use my Smashbox Lid Primer in Light. And also there is a warning on the back of this palette that says that these might stain because they do contain red dye, just as a heads up, because I know a lot of her palettes do stain, which isn't really an issue for me, but if that is an issue for you, you might not like this, but I just thought I would kind of mention it because I know a lot of people ask about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes now, and then we're gonna slap some of these on my eyes. So I'm just looking at this palette now, and I'm noticing with the mattes here that it looks like there are two cool tone purples, so these top ones here, and then you have two more warmer tone purples down here. So I think that's very interesting. I will say that my first instinct when I saw this palette was I wish there was one kind of light shimmer. So maybe if like, I don't know what I would swap out, but I'm missing some kind of like a light inner corner shade. I know I'm probably like the only one who always wants a very light shimmer, but I love having a light shimmer in a palette, which might not have been that easy with a 6-pan to like take one of these away because I feel like they all make sense to have in here. But I just want something light, you know? So I'm probably gonna pull in something else from somewhere else to put in my inner corner because I really don't feel like this is a standalone palette unless you just want a purple look, you know what I mean? So I do think that when I'm doing more looks with this, I will allow myself to pull in like some different things so that I can show you how to use a purple palette along with something else, because otherwise all the looks are going to end up very similar. So for this look, I definitely want to do something purple. And I think I want to try to use as many of these shades as possible. I don't think I want to use all of them, but I think I'm first going to go in with Ink Jet. Is that what that was called? Ink Jet. And I'm going to put that in my outer corner, just as my deepening up shade. And as with all other purples, it's always a good idea to start with your darkest shade first to prevent patchiness. And I just find this to be a very good way to work with very, very dark mattes like this, especially dark colorful mattes. I'm sure with brown mattes it won't make that much of a difference, but I just find, especially with blues and purples, that this is going to be the way to go for sure, because it's not going to get patchy and it's going to be a lot easier to just blend something else over the top and get your transition afterwards. And I mean, this shade is obviously very, very pigmented, which I love that. So I think I'm going to start with this, and then to blend this out a little bit, I think I'm going to use Jellyfish, which is this purple up here. I'm just going to call all of these purples. I'll be like, this is this purple, and then I'm going to use this purple because they're all purple. Just going to go ahead and take my same brush, and I'm just going to run that in my crease now, basically all the way from the outer part to the inner part. Oh, that is a beautiful pastel-y purple. I really like that. That is blending so nicely into that outer corner shade that I put down. And so far, I mean, we're off to a great start. I mean, that was so easy. So I don't know if you guys really follow Menagerie on Instagram, but she's coming out with concealers and powders soon as well. And usually those aren't the kind of products that really excite me. But when an indie brand comes out with something like that, and it's a brand that I really like, I get very intrigued. So I'm really interested in trying those. Do you guys plan on buying any of those things? or do you plan on buying this palette? Let me know. I know this palette is out of stock right now, but it will restock, so I'm sure it won't take too long before you'll be able to pick this up. So I think my plan is going to be to actually use all of these shades just because I want to try them. So for my lower lash line, I guess I'll go in with the more warm tone colors here. So I'm first going to take Octopi and I'm going to put that on the outer part of my lower lash line. And then on the inner part, I'm going to use Iron Grip. And then I'll put both of the other shimmers on my lid. And I think I want to do that as like a half cut crease. And then I want to put some kind of a glitter in my crease in a different color. Just to kind of make this look a little bit different than the other looks you'll probably see with this palette, because I mean everyone is going to be doing a purple look and there's only so many things you can do doing a purple look, so I do want to bring in some kind of other colors to kind of jazz this up a little bit, probably some different kind of eyeliner and stuff too, but I'm first going to go ahead and just put those colors down on my lower lash line. So like I said here, I'm going to first start with Octopi and then I'm going to move into Iron Grip. So I will say I wish I put down a little bit of eyeshadow primer just before going in with these colors on my lower lash line, because purples just don't always stick that well. And I definitely find that I needed to really build these up in order for them to be as opaque as I wanted them to be on my lower lash line. But again, I mean, I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately and I've just been really liking it. So when I don't do it, I kind of wish that I did. I don't know how much of a difference you can really see in my outer corner shade and the one that I put on the outer part of my lower lash line. I do feel like they kind of blend into one color, so I don't know if it's necessary to use them both in the same look. I feel like you can kind of use them interchangeably and use them for the same thing, even though in the pan it definitely looks like this shade is a lot darker than this, but I feel like on the eyes they're looking very similar here, and I am having a little bit of a hard time just getting the blend on the outer part here to look the way that I like it to. I mean, totally my fault, but I'm just not having the best blending day today. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and cut my crease. And I probably don't need to do that, but it's just going to give me a bit of a better line to know where to put that glitter afterwards. Usually I would not cut my crease in a spot like this, but because I know I'm going to do a glitter liner, I find that it's just a lot easier to follow the line if I do have a cut crease. So I'm actually going to take my MAC paint pot here in Soft Ochre and try to use that as a cut crease, because someone was telling me the other day that they've been doing that and it works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and try it, and I think I'm going to like it because it's not as like kind of wet as a concealer is, so I think it's going to do a really good job at that. So I'm just going to do a half cut crease here, and I think I cut my crease a little bit too high, maybe a little bit too high, but it's okay. So I'm not sure how I feel about using my MAC paint pot for a cut crease. I feel like it's a little bit thick on my lid and I'm not able to really spread it out like I am with a concealer, but we're gonna go ahead and try this anyway. So I'm first gonna take 3 hearts, I think, which is this purple right here. I'm gonna spray that and then put it on like the middle of my lid, and then for the rest of my lid I'm gonna use Mimic. So I'm just gonna put that right in the middle here. Ooh, that's pretty. It does need a little bit of layering though and building up to really get like really intense. I feel like it's a bit of a sheer formula, not sheer in that it goes on sheer on the lid, but it's more like a buildable formula that you need to put on a bit more on before you get like maximum intensity here. I also don't really know if this is like laying any differently on top of my MAC paint pot because I'm not used to using that as a cut crease, but I really like the color of this shade, and it's also an extremely smooth formula. Just going to kind of tap that on the outer corner here and just blend everything together. So you can see now I definitely did not have to do a cut crease, but like I said, I'm mainly just doing it because I am going to go in with some glitter in my crease after, and I just want like a better guideline for that. Alright, next up I'm going to take Mimic, which is the other purple in this palette. This is more of the warm tone purple. And I think this might be a different formula than the first one, because when I tried to pick this up, it just picked up differently on my brush here. So let's go ahead and see when I put this on the eyes. Yeah, this seemed to be way more of like a foiled formula, and the first shadow that I put down, the other purple, is more of a just a regular shimmer formula. So I'm not gonna be too precise, just like right in the crease here, because like I said, I'm gonna use some glitter. I really like this purple. This is absolutely stunning. That is so just like metallic looking. I really like that. I'm just gonna bring this over the other purple a bit, just to get a good blend here. I do think that this shade would probably be better used as like a finger shade because it is a little bit crumbly in the pan, just like some of her other shimmers are as well. Like there are definitely two different shimmer formulas in this palette. I love how it's looking on the eyes, but it is a little bit hard to just like pick up smoothly on a brush. But once you get it on the eyes, it's pretty easy to smooth everything out, but just be aware that it's going to be just a little bit chunky when you're dipping your brush into it, and it also does have a little bit of fallout here, which I think I should be able to wipe that away pretty easily because I usually am with these. Yeah, so that was very easy. So I really like how this is looking. Now obviously there's not that much like variation going on, and it's looking very just purple because everything is kind of just blending into each other. So that's why I want to go in with some kind of a glitter here. And I think the glitter I want to use is going to be from Milani. This is the Hypnotic Lights in the shade Electric Forest, and it's a beautiful kind of turquoisey green. So I'm gonna go ahead and take an eyeliner brush here, and I'm just going to trace like the line where I cut my crease here, probably about halfway across or so. I need to find a clean liner pen to do that with. Alright, let's try this again. I'm not going to talk while I do this because then it's going to end up in a disaster. So I'm basically just going to trace right in my line here in my crease. So here's the glitter all done. I feel like that turned out pretty good. So I think just to finish up, I'm going to punch by Colourpop my waterline to kind of go with my earrings here and make it all tied together. And then I'll put on some liner, mascara, and a lipstick, and I will come back and show you the final look. So here's the almost completed look. I do think I want to put in a little bit more glitter because I just want to. I'm just in a glitter mood today. For my lipstick though, I did use the Sorme Non-Stop Liquid Lipstick in the shade Enchanted. I love this. Probably my favorite lipstick in my collection. And I do think I want to go in with a bit more glitter, like I said. So I'm going to take my Steely Glitter and Glow. This is in the shade Beauty Junkie. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that just on the lower lash line here because I feel like something is missing because I don't have an inner corner shade and I feel like it's a little bit too top heavy here. So I just want to kind of balance it out a bit and put something on my lower lashes as well. Or lower lash line, I should say. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of this just right here. Oh, that is very pretty. Okay, so I think this is going to be the final look, and I'm a little bit happier now, even though I still feel like I want to just blend this out a little bit. Okay, that's better. So, okay, let's sum up this video. So, as for my thoughts on this palette, for my first impression, I mean, I don't think that this is a standalone palette, so that is not how I would use this, but I think this is for someone who feels like they're lacking some purples in their collection that they can use with other things. Like, that's definitely how I'm going to use this palette because I just feel like this is missing some kind of a light shimmer. I can't help it. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I want some kind of a light shimmer in here. I don't know which shade in particular I would swap out. Maybe this one right here and put in some kind of a light shimmer. I feel like, I don't know. I think that's what's missing for me. But I mean, I really like the formula on this so far. I didn't have any issues working with it. I will say though, I could tell when I was working on my lower lash line here that it took a little while to build up, and I wish I had put down a little bit of eyeshadow primer down there. So I would say prime underneath your eyes as well if you're gonna go in with these purples. And other than that, I mean, I like this palette. I didn't have any problems. I think the shades are beautiful. I do think that they kind of blend together a little bit and everything is just going to end up looking purple, which it's a purple palette. I mean, what do I expect? So, I mean, I really like this. So if you're looking for purples, here you go, you got a purple palette. That's basically all I got to say because it's a purple palette and I can't really say anything else about it. So yeah, let me know if you got this palette. Let me know how you feel about it when you do. I would love to talk about it. And that's going to be it for today's video. So if you want to see some other Menagerie Cosmetics videos I've made, I'll pop some up on the screen because I have a lot of them. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.